Hello again, everybody listening out across the airwaves. Welcome back to Otaku's I keep saying Otakos. And you know what? Last time I stopped, and this time I'm just going to roll with it. We are Otakus, not Otakos. And today, we're going to give you our 2 cents on, is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon?
No, the answer is it's not wrong.
Man, I love that song, Trey. I'm so glad you found that. I'm the biggest fan. I love it. I hope everybody else out there loves it too. So today we are reviewing Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, also known as Danmachi. So for anybody that's not, if this is your first time listening and you're not super familiar with how our show reviews work, what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give you the most spoiler-free review that we can give you in case you haven't seen it yet. So that way you guys can kind of get an idea of what the show's about, our opinion on whether you should watch it or not, what we grade it as, and then you can do with that what you will and make your own decision. After that, we're going to go to our discussion points. And with our discussion points, that is a spoiler zone. Like, we're going to talk about anything and everything that comes to our mind. So if you've already seen the show and you're really interested in hearing what we have to say, stay tuned and listen on to that. Or if, once again, you just don't care about spoilers, even though you haven't seen the show, stick with us and you're going to get a much more in-depth discussion of the show. So, as always, we're going to start off with the synopsis to give you guys a general idea of what the show is about. So, life in the bustling city of Orario?
Yes.
Orario is never dull, especially for Bale Crenell, a naive young man who hopes to become the greatest adventurer in the land. After a chance encounter with the lonely goddess Hestia, his dreams become a little closer to reality. With her support, Bale embarks on a fantastic quest as he ventures deep within the city's monster-filled catacombs known only as the Dungeon. Death lurks around every corner in the cavernous depths of this terrifying labyrinth, and a mysterious power moves amidst the shadows. Even on the surface, survival is a hard-earned privilege. Indeed, nothing is ever certain in a world where gods and humans live and work together, especially when they often struggle to get along. One thing is for sure, though, a myriad of blunders, triumphs, friendships await the dauntlessly optimistic protagonist of this Herculean tale. So basically, what this show is about is the gods have decided to come down to Earth and they are going to bless the quote-unquote children of their families with the abilities to go fight monsters in the dungeon. That's the most basic gist we can give you. But your main character in this series, who easily ranks in my top 5 favorite anime characters, is Bale Crenell. He's optimistic. He's fun.
Naive.
He's definitely naive.
He's got enthusiasm in spades.
Enthusiasm in spades for sure. What he lacks in fighting skill, he makes up with heart, willpower, determination. I just love him. I think he's fantastic.
Can you really make up for that on the battlefield, though?
He does. I mean, he answers that question for us. Yeah. He does for sure. And honestly, for me, Bale really kind of helps make this show.
He's definitely the centerpiece of this show. He's probably not my top 5, but maybe top 10.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that you just don't like anything, Trey.
I'm just critical of anime.
Well, I like his character in the fact that, I mean, it follows a very similar formula as to a lot of other animes in the fact that, he builds as he goes. But, as we just said, he's not particularly skilled. He doesn't have these fantastic abilities. But yet he continues
To struggle.
He does continue to struggle, but he continues to impress everybody around him with just sheer willpower and his determination and drive.
Which, you know, that's not a unique thing in anime for sure. Plenty of other anime, plenty of other characters do the exact same thing. But
but they have some base ability though.
Most of them do, usually. But, you know, you look at people or characters like Naruto for sure. Yeah. He does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But the big difference between Naruto and Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, in my mind, is a point that you brought up, Trey. This show heavily centers around Bell. In Naruto, there's a lot of other stuff going on. I mean, Naruto's definitely, you know, the main center point, but there's plenty of other stuff going on in this huge world. Mm-hmm. And Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Yeah, there's other characters. Yeah, there's side characters. You know, we've got Eyes and Hestia and Lily and all of them, but it's all about Bell, and it all centers around Bell. It's hard to leave him in this. Sword or Ataria is a whole different thing, and we're going to discuss that in definitely a different episode. But for Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, it's easily all about Bell. There's not a whole lot going on with most of the other characters. They all get short backstories, which is really nice. You get their backstory, but overall there's not a whole lot going on with them.
So you like the characters in this one?
I do like the characters in this one. Overall, all the characters are once again fun to watch. People are probably going to get really sick and tired of me saying this, but for me, if I'm not having fun watching the anime, why am I watching it? And the characters in this one make it really fun. Just the chemistry between Belle and Lily and Welf, you know, they're a fun team. They're a really fun team.
Well, and this is definitely one that I am a little biased on, just because I love mythology, and to me, this show is, I mean, it's different, but it's kind of a combination of mythology meets Sword Art Online. And, you know, in a few aspects. And to me, I've always been a big mythology nerd, and to see that come alive in anime, you know, I love it. And just seeing these complex relationships between the gods and the adventurers and Hestia and Belle, you know, I love it.
So I think we've all pretty well established, you know, we like the characters of this show. We enjoy them. But the biggest thing for me, something even bigger than the characters, is the world building aspect that we get in this. And if I have to give any credit to the slower start of this show, that credit is given to them building this world around these characters and what's going on. You know, we've got the dungeon, which we all understand what's going on at the surface level. You know, it's in the synopsis. They go in, they fight the monsters, and there's deeper levels, and there's bigger monsters at the deeper levels. You fight a monster, and whenever you kill a monster, you get this crystal. And the crystal is worth money, and the bigger the monster, the bigger the crystal, the more money you get. At the surface level, that's really cool. But whenever you look a little bit deeper, there's something going on with this dungeon that they hint at throughout the season, but they never really say what, and nobody really wants to talk about what. It's this real big hush secret, and it really draws me in.
And see, that's one of the things I love about it, is there's this mysterious element to this dungeon. You know, like you said, we all know on the surface level what it is, but, you know, where did this dungeon come from? How far does it go?
Why is it so tall if they're going down? I mean...
Amen. Why does it go
I never thought about that, but yeah, that's a good point.
Since I've seen it, I was like, if it goes down.
Actually, I think that's the tower part where I think shops and stuff are in there.
That would make sense.
I think you are correct, and that is so weird that there's shops in the same structure as the dungeon.
I mean, not really. It's efficiency. But let's not get too deep into that right now. Okay. But I do think there are shops in the tower. I think that's where a lot of the stuff is at.
Okay.
But I love the story behind, you know, the gods coming down to Earth and, you know, giving the children, you know, their blessing to fight the monsters and everything. But more than that, I love the angle and the approach that this show takes on all the gods. You know, that's part of building this whole world, is showing all these different gods and showing, all of their families are not on the same level. Nothing is equal. Nothing is the same. There's, nitpicking between the gods. There's alliances. There's everything. And I love all of that going on.
Very deep, dynamic world, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to keep you engaged besides just the characters, which in a way is kind of good because, like we talked about earlier in the show, it all kind of focuses around Belle. And that can get old. You want a nice world to wonder about, right? That's part of the thing I enjoy about the show is the wonder.
Well, there's two things it focuses on. Belle and his awkwardness.
Yeah. Belle,
it takes on a life of its own, buddy.
Yeah. Belle is definitely a super awkward character, but it leads to some really fun moments.
And one of my favorite memes.
Yeah. and many, many, many memes. But speaking of all that, the artwork in this show, I enjoy it. Season 2 has just come out, last month?
Yeah, I'd say it's only got 2 episodes out now.
So,
maybe 3.
Yeah, we're recording this in July. It might have come out early July, late June, I can't remember. Season 2 has just come out, and I'm excited to see how the animation quality of Season 2 compares to Season 1. Because I want to say that did it come out in 2015?
Lord.
We watched it when we had the apartment.
Yeah. And it had already been out.
Yeah.
Because I'd already seen it, because I showed it to you.
Yeah. So around there, yeah.
Once again, the artwork is good. Not overly colorful, not overly bright, but it's well done.
Like you said with that say, it's not holding it back any.
No,
it's not taking it to the next level, but it's definitely not holding anything back.
Exactly. And honestly, if you're looking for the bare minimum score for artwork, that's kind of what you want. The artwork doesn't hold the show back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty big deal. I mean, if your artwork is, you can have amazing plot, amazing characters, but if your artwork and your animation is just bad, it's gonna distract me from those things.
Well, and I feel like it does what a lot of anime kind of does. So that the character that's in the forefront of the scene, they put a lot of detail into them. But if you look at some of the other characters, it's like a quick sketch of that character. They didn't put as much detail into it. And of course, I'm not focused on that part, but
it is there if you look for it. So I would say with this show, if you're looking to watch this show, if you're looking for a show that's got decent action, because we're definitely going to discuss these in depth here in a little bit, but this show has some of my favorite fight scenes in any anime ever in it. It's got great fight scenes. The artwork is good. The characters are so much fun. I'm constantly laughing because the show has good comedic moments, but it's also got this really nice, serious undertone to it to keep things steady. Overall, it's a fun watch. I enjoy it. And I think if that's the kind of show you're looking for, I could definitely recommend that to you. Mm-hmm. So do you guys have anything else, that you want to discuss kind of about the show and the layout and everything before we give it a grade? Because I'm kind of out of stuff that I think I wanted to bring forward.
I feel like that about takes the cake.
Yep.
Okay. So, our official Otaku grades. So, for anybody who's just now tuning in to our show, we do a grading system, not really a point system. Before I go any farther, after you hear this system, or if you've listened to the other episodes and you've already heard the system, if you don't like it, go to Twitter and Instagram, follow us at Otaku's 2 cents. Make sure to let us know, hey, I don't like this grading format. Or make sure to let us know, hey, I do like this grading format. That's the only way we're going to know, and we're totally open to changing this if you guys want to hear something different. This is just something we're experimenting with or something we're trying with. So nothing's set in stone. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what you think on social media.
If you want more grades per artwork, per character development, different plot points, things like that, not messed up.
No, you're fine. Just more in-depth grades per thing we kind of look at within the anime.
Yeah.
On what we give it an overall score on. I totally get that. I think that would be great if that's what people want to hear. But our grading system works like this. We have A through F. A being fantastic. A being amazing. A being The artwork is fantastic. The story is fantastic. The characters are fantastic. The world is fantastic. It's just an overall wonderful anime to watch. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Put it at the top of your watch list. Go watch it tomorrow. B, anime is still good. We definitely recommend watching it whenever you get a chance. Everything about it is okay. It flows well. It's worth the watch. C, we're on the fence about it. It could go one way or another. You know, with a little bit of sway, we could be pushed to liking it more, disliking it more. Go watch it if you get time. That's kind of what a C rating is. D is do not recommend. Probably shouldn't go watch this unless the niche that it falls in is really your thing. You know, some people have some things that are for other people, and, you know, some people just don't like some stuff. You know, that's what D is for us. F, failed. Do not watch. Train wreck anime. Done. Don't even worry about it. Then we've got one final classification. That is S. S is top of the line. Changes the game. Changed our lives. Plus ultra. S is just super rare. Don't even know if we'll ever have one. We don't know, but we wanted it to be there just in case. So that is the current grading system that we're using. So my overall grade for this show it's a B. I say put it on your watch list. Go check it out whenever you get a chance. Artwork is alright. Action is really good. Characters are good. The world is good. I don't have a whole lot of complaints. So for me, it's a B.
For me, I definitely have to say an A minus. You know, I love the show a lot. I love a lot of the aspects to it, the mythology components. It's just all around a good show. I'd recommend it.
I will probably be a C plus because I didn't like it as much. It's still great anime, but it lacks something for me. So C plus.
So that would probably make our overall Otaku grade somewhere in the B range, which means, once again, watch it when you get a chance. If it doesn't sound like something you would enjoy, maybe give it a shot anyway. We definitely recommend, you know, taking the time to watch it. So that is our spoiler-free review. If you don't want to hear any spoilers because you haven't watched the show yet and you're about to sign off, thank you so much for listening. We definitely appreciate the audience for us. Make sure to give us a good review on iTunes. It's the only way we're going to get out there. It's the only way people are going to hear about us. It's the only way we're going to grow and reach more listeners and hopefully spread our 2 cents about anime. So thank you so much. But without any further ado, it is spoiler season, baby. Because I've got a lot to talk about, but it's all spoiler related. And a lot of that ties into the fight scenes. The fight scenes in this show do so much for me. I love the fight scene against the big silverback gorilla that gets out during the monster taming festival. Mm-hmm. That fight scene was fantastic. I think Bale really comes into his own during that. That's whenever he realizes how strong he can really be. You know, Hestia quickly upgrades his stats, and she's like, it's enough. It's enough. He can do this. Go get him. And he believes in himself, and he goes out and he conquers this monster. Impresses everybody, including the one and only Ice Wallenstein. It's a great fight. But for me, the fight that did so much is him versus that Minotaur. I can't tell you how many times I've watched just that fight. I love it so much. Just because for me, there's all these great fight scenes in anime. All these wonderful fight scenes. But in this one, there's no just all of a sudden he's just so much better. He powers up and he gets better. Or anything like that. It's him, his skills, his determination, all this time he spent training with Eyes. He's fighting this Minotaur, and he's going on his adventure. That's just what it is. It's him versus this monster and nothing else. And he overcomes this obstacle at the expense of, all of his energy and everything. And it counts as an adventure, and it levels him up. But it's just, for me, this fight scene is just so hard to describe because it's just so raw. It's such a raw fight.
And as you said, I thought it was very well played out because this entire thing, I mean, throughout the entire show, we see Bell. I mean, he's got a great amount of determination, but he lacks a lot of skill until he does start training with Ice. But he, in the middle of this fight, he is very much the underdog. And through pure willpower and determination, he just overcomes it at all odds. And in front of everybody, I mean, everybody's watching this fight and just letting him go at it because he's incredibly determined with his bloodlust.
And it's against the rules. It's against the rules to take the kill from another person in a dungeon. They can't just step in unless his life is in danger. Mm-hmm. And what's even funnier was, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but the wolf guy, whenever he sees who's fighting the Minotaur, he's laughing at him. He's like, oh, that's the guy that had Minotaur blood all over him and embarrassed himself and everything. Haha, he laughs at him and everything, but he starts watching and he realizes this is not the same guy that he was then. And it's been such a short amount of time. What's it been, a month?
Yeah, something like that.
He's grown so much in a month.
Yeah.
And it's just so impressive to everybody, just the ability he's gained and the focus, because he's got one ultimate goal, and that's to catch up to Eyes. And this Minotaur fight, to me, because also this isn't just any Minotaur. This Minotaur has been leveled up. He's been boosted.
Been trained how to use a sword.
He's been trained, exactly. It's not just a regular Minotaur.
Well, the Minotaur didn't even belong on that level, did it?
No. It came up the level because honestly, it was hunting for him. It was hunting for Bell, and just the fact that he beat this Minotaur not only proved to him, but it proved to us that everything he's dreaming about, it's within reach. It's within his grasp. So I know I have done an absolutely horrible job talking about this fight scene. And I'm sure we'll do an episode one day where we talk about our favorite fight scenes in anime. And this will come up again, and hopefully I can describe it better. But if you watch this show, just be ready for this fight scene. It's fantastic. It's just so raw. So the other ones are great. The other one, with him against the giant Goliath and everything, mm-hmm. that was cool. That was neat. That was awesome.
But the Minotaur fight scene was the pinnacle of it.
Yeah, and it stuck with me. It really stuck with me.
What I liked the most about it was up until that point, the wolf guy was making fun of him every step of the way. He'd pop in there, make fun of him, and then it gets to that point where he's watching them, then he admires him.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this may make me a horrible person, but it'd be kind of easy to make fun of Bell. I'm not saying I would, but just seeing him in action, not fighting, just his person he's extremely awkward when he first sees him. Of course, he's covered in this Minotaur blood, and then as soon as Ice says one word, he sprints off in the other direction.
Crying and running.
Yeah, and he continues to do this throughout the entire, well, maybe not the entire show, but for a large portion of it. And my favorite thing ever is after, he's been knocked out and Ice is just sitting there holding him and wakes up and sees her and then just yells and then rolls away. I love that. It's my favorite thing ever.
I knew you were going to love it because we were sitting in the apartment and I even paused and I was like, "You ready for this?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm ready." I'm like, "No, are you ready for this?" You're like, "What? Just play the show." Played it, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the days you laughed so hard you smacked your head into the wall by accident.
I also punched the wall at the same time. So.
Yeah, it was...
I'm not a graceful person.
I knew you were gonna love that. It was such a big deal.
And every time you send me that in a text message, I lose my crap.
But another big thing about this is, of course, the dungeon itself. Like we said in our review, there's definitely more going on there. But the gods are all playing their own games. There's the goddess who is obviously after Bell.
Yeah, a beauty. Goddess of beauty.
Yeah, the goddess of beauty. I can't remember what her actual name is. It escapes me. But she's got her own game plan going on. Hestia's got what she wants. Hermes always has something going on in the background. And all of that mixed together, it just begs the question of what's really going on behind the scenes. Because Hermes definitely lets on more, or doesn't let on as much as he knows. He knows a lot about what's going on, especially there at the end, whenever he talks about the familiar myth and everything. And
well, Hermes is this very charming character, but not necessarily in a good way. But he's this character that he's very quick-witted. He slides little comments in here and there, and oftentimes they're light-hearted, but there's this serious undertone within him that maybe the other characters don't see, but as an audience member you do, and that something's lurking within, whether it's an ulterior motive or whatever it may be.
He's always got an end game.
Mm-hmm.
He's always got an end game. He never does anything just because.
No.
He's not just doing this for fun. He's got a plan. He's got a reason. And you may not know that reason until, much later down the line, but there's always a reason for it.
At one point, wasn't he spying for the goddess of beauty?
I feel like they led that he was, but I think it turns out that that's not really what he was doing. He was just kind of playing along because there was things he wanted to learn. Because, like we said, he's always got this end game. He's always got this thing going on with him. Another character that I want to talk about is, of course, Ice Wallenstein.
Wallen, what's it?
Wallen Watson, yes, Ice Wallen Watson, as Hestia loves to call her. Belle's definite love interest. The whole reason that he's got two reasons that he's fighting as hard as he does. One is because he wants to catch up to Eyes, which is a very lofty goal because Eyes is level 6.
Yep. Is she the top in the show?
No. There's other level 6s. And in Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? That's all we know. There's things you learn in Sword Ortaria that kind of change the playing field a little bit. We can get to that another time. But in Sword Online, oh my gosh. But in Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, 6 is all we really know about. But she's definitely top tier. And it didn't take her very long to get there. She's known as the Sword Princess. She's extremely skilled. She's extremely strong. We meet her early on.
Very first episode.
Yeah, and she's an interesting character for me because she obviously has this backstory, right? Something has obviously gone on in her childhood. Things have obviously happened to make her the way she is. But there's also nothing going on with her at the same time. She's just calm, collected.
Kind of empty-headed most of the time.
Yeah, I think Bell even makes a comment to himself. He's like, Oz, are you an airhead? Like you keep spinning heel kicking me in the face and you're acting like I should be dodging this. Like, what the heck? He makes that comment, but at the same time, it's very clear that she's not. She's intelligent. She knows what she's doing.
She's just a woman of few words.
Yeah, she definitely lets her actions speak for her. Because especially, during the Minotaur fight, whenever everyone, that last charge, that Minotaur's last ditch effort to take Belle out, and everybody's worried and everybody's concerned, and she goes, he's fine. He's fine. She's just so confident in what she sees and what she knows, and she's got this confidence in Belle, and she's jealous of Belle. Belle doesn't know it, but she's jealous of him. She wants to know how he's getting so strong so fast because she wants to get strong too. And I do enjoy her character, but in Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, I wish they would have explored her a little bit more. There's not really a whole lot going on.
In that show, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it does branch over into Sword Ortario.
It's a spin-off.
Yeah, this show was very much just attached to Belle and his perspective. I mean, it's...
I like how they did that with his perspective on this one, and then the spin-off on a different subject and that sort of thing. So
yeah. That was well done. One thing we haven't talked about is Belle's party with Lily and Welf. That's a fun little party. I like how each character has their own backstory. Welf, he can make the magic weapons, but refuses to for personal reasons. And his reason is that magic.
Reliable.
Yeah, magic weapons are reliable.
They'll break whenever you need them most.
Exactly, and he doesn't support that. And he's one of the few people left that can actually make magic weapons, and he can make a lot of money. And he can make a name for himself being able to do that. I don't think that, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think they explained how or why he could make magic weapons.
It's just his family trait. I know that much. So it was just sort of passed down in the family.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like a technique that he's learned, or if it's just a skill he's picked up being part of that family.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would have gone into a little more depth with it. That would have been nice for sure. But just the fact that he can do it, but he won't, is interesting. And then of course Lily, she's a mess. She's an absolute mess. You know, she's stuck with those other adventurers.
And that bad familia.
Who, you know, they've basically got her as a slave. She, you know, owes them a quote unquote debt that they're wanting her to pay back. And, you know, it's a debt that she's never going to be able to pay.
Yeah, it's an unpayable debt, just constantly inflated and increasing the number, and she'll never pay it off.
And, you know, and honestly, this just kind of goes into the kind of character Bell is. He's forgiving and he's pure-hearted almost to a fault. You know, he's extremely trusting of Lily early on, and she tries to backstab him and leaves him for dead. Like, I feel like Belle and the show in general kind of overlooked that a little bit, but she legitimately leaves him for dead in the dungeon.
Sets him up to be dead. Not just leaves him for dead, sets him up in that position, yeah.
I mean, she fully had every intention of letting Belle die. And he just forgives it so easily. And I think the show could have gone into a little bit more depth, maybe made the tone a little bit more serious in that scene that, hey, Belle could die. Of course, you know, Oz comes in and saves him and everything, even though he doesn't know it, but...
Yeah, like she typically does.
yeah, Belle tends to need a lot of saving early on, but Lily's character definitely grows whenever she sees just how forgiving Belle is.
Well, and going back to Welf, I just had this thought, but correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he originally a part of the Hephaestus familia?
He still is, isn't he?
I thought he was.
He might still be, I don't know.
I think he's still part of that familia, yeah. Because she gives him that sword and that big pike.
Well, see, and that's the thing. So it may be a familia trait because Hephaestus is the forge god. You know, in Greek mythology, this god is very. I mean, that's all they do is just forge all of these, you know, weapons for the gods. So.
And you know what? I think he might be right. I think he might be a part of that family because whenever he's looking for armor. The girl from the guild, you know, she's explaining to him like, hey, listen, like you can get really nice armor from smiths from really high-end families who are just coming up, who aren't well known, for cheaper. You just got to find it.
Yeah.
And you know that's how we discover wealth. Overall, I don't really have, I guess, really anything else to talk about besides that. Just some of the.
What about Zeus?
Oh, Zeus! Yes, thank you, Trey. Thank you. You got to chime in with those things, man.
I was just waiting for you to bring it up.
Oh, you can't rely on me for everything. I talk too much the way it is, but yeah, the whole Zeus situation.
So is it just hinted that he's his grandchild, Zeus's grandchild?
I don't think it ever explicitly says it.
No, it's
just very heavily insinuated.
Yeah, definitely hinted because, you know, one, they never show his face in any of the flashbacks, and two, you know, it says his grandfather was, you know, killed by monsters and his body fell in a ravine and it couldn't be recovered. But then at the very end, Hermes makes the comment about Belle and about Zeus. I can't remember what he says exactly, but it's heavy-handedly, you know, leaning in that direction that Belle has some sort of tie to Zeus. Belle's special. I mean, it's that's big from the very beginning.
And see, I like that, but at the same time, I feel like that undermines all of Belle's hard work. I mean, he's definitely put in the effort, but him being tied to this all-powerful god. You know, Zeus is the king of the gods. I mean, it sort of makes it seem like he's got the only reason he's making it this far is because of this supernatural ability
and his skill that he has that he's not been told about.
That's true.
And all of that is because of him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he fought in the dungeon by himself For a while, I mean, he was
Yeah.
in the dungeon whenever he found Ice because those Minotaurs were let by the Loki family to come up, to the higher levels. Was it level 5 or something like that?
Yeah, that's where he was at.
Yeah, and
because they scared him up there after they like swamped him and took him out.
Exactly.
They ran way upstairs.
So that's Bell's been fighting for a while. It wasn't until he met Eyes that he really had this drive to get that much better. So there's being tied to Zeus right now, I think, is mostly just an afterthought. I think everything that Bell has accomplished has been on his own. It's been his own initiative, his own drive. Well, except for learning Firebolt. That was somebody else's doing, where they left that Grimoire book for him.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Grimoire spell book.
Mm-hmm.
And he read it and instantly learned Firebolt.
Yeah, of course, I'm also looking at it from this perspective. Isn't that special skill, doesn't it have something to do with like an Argonaut? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
He has an Argonaut, yeah. But what's his special leveling up ability that he has that they keep wiping off?
I can't remember what it's called.
And I don't remember when he gets that, because he doesn't have that until after he meets Eyes.
He doesn't get that until after he meets Eyes.
So
like I said, Bell has two main reasons that he wants to get stronger. One is to catch up to Eyes. So that's the reason he has that, super leveling ability. Where as long as he has that desire to catch up to her, that ability is going to stay there. His second reason for getting stronger is he wants to be like these heroes that he looked up to.
Yeah.
And because of that desire, his Argonaut ability manifests itself. So his two skills so far, besides Firebolt, which is just magic, I don't think it's actually a skill.
No, yeah.
Those two skills manifest from his two deep desires to get stronger. I still argue that it's all him. I do.
Didn't Hestia say for his super speed up, level up skill, it was due to his connection with Eyes, specifically, like the closer the connection with her, the more that ability leveled him up, per se.
The heavier the desire to be by her side. Yeah, absolutely sped it up quite a bit. And then that's one of the things I love about Hestia. She definitely wants Belle all for herself, but she's not selfish. She could have easily told Belle about that skill, and then it could have gone away. Yeah. She legitimately thinks that it's best for him not to know.
And it is, because if he knows, then...
Exactly. So, even though she wants Belle, she still does what's best for him. What she thinks is at least best for him, which I think is fantastic. I love their dynamic. I really do. Is that all we've got to ramble on about?
As far as the show, where do you think it's going to go in season 2? Prediction, since we're going to watch it soon.
Oh man, I don't know.
Of course, we watch both the spinoff and the movie, so we have a little bit more insight there.
That's true. I don't know where season 2 is going, because I haven't watched any trailers. I haven't read any articles. I've wanted season 2 to be a big surprise for me. I've wanted to just go into it open-minded, and just be ready for whatever it throws at me. Season 1 ends. They're still in the dungeon. Mm-hmm. They just fought the big Goliath.
Yep.
Belle just killed it. They're still in the dungeon. I think it'll probably pick up around there somewhere.
I feel like it's going to be slow. They're probably going to already be back from the dungeon.
I think so.
I think it's going to be fairly slow, and then they'll start diving into some of the stuff, hopefully the explanation of Zeus.
Yeah, I really hope they touch on that.
Heck, maybe he'll even reach level 3 since he's closer to Eyes by now.
Yeah.
That desire keeps growing, so his skill should be growing.
And not to give anything away in Sword or Ataria. So we're definitely going to do a Sword or Ataria episode sometime soon. But if you haven't watched Sword or Ataria, go watch it. Because in my opinion, it's on the same level as Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I can't decide which one I like better. They're both fantastic. But there's so much more information to be gathered from Sword or Ataria that it's definitely worth the watch. It's just because of that. There's been an adventure in Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? There's been an adventure in Sword or Ataria. I hope there's another adventure. I want there to be another Minotaur fight. Not necessarily a Minotaur, but I want there to be that level of fight.
For as much as you look up to that fight, I don't know if you're going to be able to beat that.
I have such high levels. Such high levels of love for that fight. But yeah, I'm excited to watch season 2.
You, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think that's where we're going to end it. We're excited for Season 2. We hope everybody that's listening right now, if you've already seen Season 1, we hope you're excited for Season 2. And as always, make sure to go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Otaku's 2 cents. Give us your feedback. Make sure to say hi. Let us know what you do and don't like. Let us know what we can do better. We're always looking to improve. We're always looking to just get better at this podcast. And, we hope to entertain you guys for many, many more episodes to come. As always, if you like what you hear, if you want to give us any kind of support, the best thing you can do is just give us a good review on iTunes, because that'll push us into a bigger spotlight, allow us to reach a wider audience, allow us to share our 2 cents with more people, and that's all we're really looking to do. We're just looking to have a good time, talk to each other, talk to you about anime, and that's really that's really the final goal. So, without anything else, this is Cole.
This is Trey.
And this is Zach.
And this has been our 2 cents on Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon.